Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Overdrive League Summer Split Gold Semifinals. We have the first match of the evening. It is going to be Illumination Spectrum taking on Anarchy. I am Mark Rafa Arabide on the cast for you today. And then joining me is my wonderful Puerto Rican friend, Robert Sordo Santiago. How are you doing today, my friend?
Hey, I'm doing good. I'm doing great. And I'm excited to get into this game. I really am. You know, Illumination, they've been first and second place in all three of the leagues for ODL. So I expect a lot from them. And, even though Anarchy is a lower seeded team, I still expect them to come out and just give Illumination one hell of a fight.
Absolutely. And we do love seeing quite the big scrap and especially explosive team fights as we get near to that mid-late game portion of the game. Now, one thing I do want to direct your attention to, Sordo, is that patch 8.16 just went live yesterday. And for the ODL Summer League, we have no time to adjust for a week period to get them ready to the new patch. So now there's so many things that did happen on this patch, mainly a lot of nerfs, damage nerfs across the board to electrocute and a lot of assassins. What ones are you looking in particular to take advantage of?
My two least favorite champions got gutted this patch, and I love it. Zoe and Fizz. Fizz, they decided to just give him a massive butt in patch 8.15, and they were just like, here, take all this damage. What can go wrong? Starts one-shotting everyone, making sure the game's just, not fun, in a sense. And, it's just whatever. But they did nerf Electrocute. They nerfed sudden impact. They nerfed all of his AP ratios. So overall, it's just good in general. And then Zoe. They finally realized, hey, a champion probably shouldn't one-shot someone if they don't hit an ability. So it's a yikes. I'm glad to see her, finally get toned down.
Yeah, we're going to have to see how these bans now reflect their research and prep for the patch 8.16. Now, we're looking at these last couple of bans coming in here. Zoe did get taken off the table, so they're still respecting Duck Solo's ability to do some damage with that champion despite the nerfs overall to her kit. But then we have Ari ban and a Jinx ban coming out from the side of Anarchy, so more than likely those are target bans, as I don't think Ari or Jinx are particularly strong picks this type of round.
Well, with Jinx, now she's starting to go lethal tempo, and she is a very carry-oriented ADC. In comparison to the Jhin, who is just locked in for Illumination, the Jinx, if she can just free hit and get her passive, she will just completely and utterly destroy any team. It doesn't matter who you are. She'll just mow you down. But I do like the Jhin pickup. Jhin still being one of the strongest AD carries. The only nerf that he really received was the tiny nerf to Cheap Shot. So the Hail of Blades variation of Jhin gets hit a little bit, but that can always be rectified with a healing support or someone that will allow him to get to 4 items and just demolish everything.
Yeah. And then the other slight nerf as well is if the Jhin is normally taking the sorcery tree in his second tier, he does lose out on the celerity nerf that did happen. A lot of that damage was taken away, went from 9.6% of bonus movement speed to 80 is now only 6%. But I think I'm Destro still should be doing fine with this Jhin pick. Now, on the other side, we already have the makings of a Yasuo composition coming in as the Alistar, and the main key itself has been locked in.
Yasuo. They were going to release a buff to Yasuo where it increased his AD on his ultimate from 150 to 250, but thank God on the PBE they noticed that it was broken and they decided, let's not put that into the game. Yasuo, still one of the stronger champions in the game. I'm curious to see if they decide to take it bot lane versus the Morgana Jhin, which, honest to God, I don't think is too terrible if Super Duck feels comfortable on Yasuo. But I more expect it with Duck solo in the mid lane, and it really does create such a dangerous comp. You know, Morgana can protect with the Black Shield. Orianna, who is just locked in, can protect with her command shield and then, you know, shockwave, try to disengage the Yasuo. But I still do like seeing Yasuo compositions. Now, the question is, do they pick like a Sejuani, a Malphite, something like that to also complement the Yasuo? Or do they just say, you know what? It's fine. We have Yasuo. If he does good, great. If not, we have an Ezreal. So I'm curious to see what they decide to do.
Yeah. And one thing we're gonna try to see if they can patch up in this next pick and ban phase is that so far it is a lot of physical damage coming out from the side of Anarchy. Now, while all physical damage compositions can work if you have a variety of armor penetration, which Yasuo does bring with the passive once you activate the last breath, you don't want to completely tunnel on it, especially if you lose lane as your two physical damage dealers. So hopefully they augment it with a little bit of magic damage from the jungle or the top lane.
Yeah, no. I still think a Sejuani pick would be really vital for Anarchy because it does give them a massive front line with the Alistar and the Sejuani. And then you can flex, you know, an AP top laner. You can put in a Rumble. You can put in a Kennen. Even though Kennen has been, you know, seen in the light as an attack speed, you know, Bork, Rageblade, Kennen. But I still think that if they do decide to go with a Kennen on Anarchy, they can, in terms, make a huge combo, and their team fight is going to be disgusting. But we do see the Sejuani locked in, which I really do like. They have melee champions in both mid and bot, and if they go with a Rumble top lane, they have another melee champion as well. So I'm really liking the side of Anarchy. Their team fight is just disgusting right now.
Absolutely right. And the amount of crowd control that is coming together with this composition from the side of Anarchy is going to be very, very potent in these mid game skirmishes and then late game team fights if it ever gets that long. And because of the safety that Ezreal does provide for Super Duck 007, he's not going to have to necessarily rely on his teammates to peel for him. He can just keep back, throw mystic shots, keep himself at bay, and then just add and augment damage whenever he needs to necessary. And if he needs to even go for a more kitey or supportive build, he can always opt into Iceborne Gauntlet. But Trinity Force also will be most likely used for the extra damage output. Now, just to make sure everyone is clear, that is a Kayn pick and a Shen pick for the second gen rotation. So now you have this very potent farming jungler coming out from the side of Illumination Spectrum, a jungler that can punish and get ahead of a Sejuani if he paths right.
Yeah. So with Kayn, he is pretty good at frontlining with another tank. So I do like the Shen Kayn pickup. Kayn can abuse the Sejuani early. And then on top of that, Sejuani is melee. So it allows him to get into that darkened form a lot faster. And as long as Ruler is able to continue his pressure and he's able to gank mid, gank bot lane, and get his form as fast as humanly possible, then he'll just be set for the entire game. That once Kayn gets darkened form, he just becomes a monster, and especially when he can get Stan United and bring the Kayn in with him, it just is a massive wombo. And then you also have the Orianna shockwave, and Jhin is always a threat with his damage. He does have ridiculous amounts of range, and to be honest, he will out damage the Ezreal in a team fight. So I really am liking how Illumination drafted, but a lot of it does depend if Ruler can get ahead or not.
Only time will tell once we actually get into game and then see these two teams battle it out. Now, if I am not mistaken, for the semifinals, this will be a best of 3 series.
Yep.
It's not just a best of 1 or a best of 5, just the good old combination in between. And with that, want to look at the early game pathing for Euler here, because um, as you pointed out, Sor, though, he can get into that darkened form very, very early on if he constantly combats with Sejuani, Super Luigi on his jungler pick. He can also, if he's ganking, constantly duck solo in the mid lane. That is another melee champion that he can rack up those points to convert to Ross. And what's so powerful about Ross in this situation is that he does add a lot of CC. The Blade's Reach will become a knockup, and then he can have a lot of spell vamp potential with the passive that becomes on his Q and overall to the rest of his damage. And then, of course, whenever he uses the Umbral Trespass to infest one of the champions to be able to basically just rip out their soul, they'll be able to steal a huge amount of percent of their maximum health and heal it back up. So it's really, he's almost like a disruptor because he's not a traditional tank, but he's someone that can almost annihilate the tanks or just take advantage of the fact that there's so many bruisers and high health targets that he can spell vamp off of, and it just causes much disruption so that his bot laner I'm Destro and Azurix Fire on this Orianna and Jin can clean up the rest of the fight.
Yeah, no. With Kane, his passive just gives him so much HP when he's in the Rost form. Now, if he does opt into the Shadow Assassin form, let's say he does get, disgustingly ahead and makes it so that, no one can really play the game,
Mm-hmm.
then, he's setting himself up to just become a monster and really just 1v9 the game. But we do have to see how the early mid game goes with him.
Yeah. Well, until we get into game, we're just waiting for the final spectator delay to come in, but we're just going to throw it quickly to intermission, and then once the game starts, we'll be right back with the action. Don't turn away, folks. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are now into the game, and then just as I say that, we actually have a pause. Unfortunately for Arrow Cross, I want to say that the X threw me off over there.
I'm just gonna say Aeropress, yeah.
Yeah, Aerocross has DC'd, unfortunately. So we're just trying to allow him to get back into the game. He probably has to go tend to his hamsters in the wheel, make sure that they're all well fed and they are fully hydrated to get his toaster running completely. But in the meantime, Sordo, this actually gives us a chance to do a little team rundown, as we didn't get a chance to do that at the beginning. So on the blue side, it is Illumination with Indigo in the top lane, Euler in the jungle, Azurix Fire in the mid lane, I'm Destro in the bot lane, and then his support, Aerocross.
Yeah, and on the red side, we have Anarchy. In the top lane, we have Great Jace. Jungle, we have Super Luigi. Mid lane, Duck Solo. Bot lane, Super Duck, and Bang. So we're going to have to see. I'm curious as to why Kennen has opted into these runes. So he has the stopwatch, which I understand, but I don't understand the minion dematerializer. Not gonna lie to you. Any thoughts on it?
Yeah, no. I think Dematerializer is pretty good for just establishing pushing pressure and then just getting those early waves on there. And but I never noticed, is Airy like the common rune that you would take for AP Cannon? I've always seen AD split pushing Cannon, so I'm just more accustomed to seeing press the attack. I guess thinking about it, that's probably makes the most sense, as that's what you take on Gnar when you're looking to be a huge lane bully and get that push dominance asserting going on in the early parts of the game. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I feel like both of them, run the same thing in a sense, where like Kennen and Gnar are kind of the AD and AP versions of themselves. The only difference is that Gnar can go a tanky variant, whereas Kennen can go either an AD or an AP variant. So I mean, they both take Summonary when they're going, a poke build, and in Kennen's case, an AP build, and both of them go press the attack when they want to go that AD variant. So I mean, I do like the Kennen pick though. It does give them a lot of AP, and it does synergize well with their ultimate combos for the side of Anarchy. You have the Sejuani ult in the Glacial Prison. You have the Alistar Headbutt Pulverize in with the Yasuo's Last Breath. Or you just have Kennen engage, and seeing as now he has Stopwatch, he will build that into a Zanya's Hourglass. He goes 5-man ults, Zanya's, gets everything out of Illumination, and it's like, what can they really do? They can Black Shield the Jhin, but other than that, everyone else just dies. So
yeah, we would have to see how well Illumination would be able to disengage a Kennen flank for the backside. The ultimate being able to stun and lock everyone down briefly could give the window of opportunity for Bang Bus Driver to find that juicy multi-man knockup with the Headbutt Pulverize combo into the Last Breath, as you pointed out. Zurix Fire does have the Shockwave, so being able to displace certain members away from I'm Destro. You can always have Aerocross use the Soul Shackles to counter engage, lock people down briefly, but then it really just comes down to how well Indigo can find the taunt onto the prime members that are damaging and threatening his backline, as well as making sure to get the Twilight Shroud down onto his carries as well to block any auto attack damage coming in from Super Duck or Duck Solo.
Yeah, as long as he can block the Qs and the autos from the Yasuo, especially when he gets to that IE PD state, then you kind of render the Yasuo useless. If the Shen can hit the taunt correctly and hits the Yasuo in particular, then the fight's just over. That most of your damage is going to come from the Yasuo and Kennen. Ezreal, though he does damage, he does it over time. his Q is where most of his damage is going to stem from. The most that he's going to be able to get off is maybe a few autos onto the Shen, maybe the Kayn, but most of your damage is going to come from you arcane shifting away and just spamming Qs like crazy. So if you're able to stop Duck Solo and Great Jace from engaging onto you, or if they do engage, you can disengage the entire fight and take it at your own pace, then Illumination is in such a good position to win at that point. Now, there is something to note. The Orianna opted into teleport, which I am not a fan of at all. I feel she needed to go barrier or even cleanse. I would have taken cleanse this game because you have so many stuns and CC that unless you use a teleport onto bot lane, or unless you're attempting to shove mid, roam TP back, teleport is just not a worthwhile summoner spell, in my opinion, in this game at least.
Definitely could be understandable on the likes of a Galio or a Twisted Fate, a champion that is known for their roaming potential and prowess, being able to influence the side lanes of the map. However, Orion is not necessarily known as the greatest roaming champion, more of a control mage trying to just make sure that the mid lane is not going to snowball out of control. In fact, Orion is probably the best blind pick champion you can pick in the meta right now, and she always somehow finds her way back to the top when other mid lane champions are just not as good or as powerful. And so Zurich's Fire got a lot of weight on his shoulders to try and ensure that Duck Solo does not pop off in this Yasuo, because after taking a quick look at his solo queue records, I mean, this guy goes nuts on Yasuo.
Yeah, no, Yasuo is one of those champions that you either get really fed and just take over a game completely, or you wait until you hit that legendary 10 death power spike, which is basically hitting 2 items, and then you just go in and do damage. It doesn't really matter how you did in the laning phase. So it's up to Illumination to either end this game early, which I do like their team comp, and they can, if they start to snowball a little bit, take over the game and make it so that the Yasuo is completely useless. Or you wait until extremely late game when Shen is full tank, when Kayn just doesn't die anymore, and you disengage the fight and or just kill Duck Solo straight out. So it's a lot of, perfect things have to happen for the side of Illumination. On the side of Anarchy, they kind of have a little bit more, breathing room in a sense. If Cannon ult fails, you still have Glacial Prison. If that fails, you still have Headbutt Pulverize. If that fails, you can still kite them out because you have an Ezreal, and you have a Yasuo that can still stack up his Q and throw NATOs out from the mid back line. So.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of perfect things, we're finally back into game, folks. So now the action will start to get underway as we now take a quick look at the starting jungle paths. Euler is actually going for a blue buff start on the top side of the map, which is pretty interesting, as most Kayn's and solo queue will ultimately go for a Raptor start into red buff and then potentially even a Krugs clear, as his early clearing is just so damn healthy.
See, I agree with you in a sense. You can either start Raptors or you can start Wolves. And, I feel like he's going blue Wolves, like, down towards the bot side because he wants to gank the bot lane, which is fine, but you're better off, starting with the Wolves, going into blue, and contesting the Scuttle Crab especially. You're going to beat the Sejuani out, so there's no reason to play afraid, in a sense. You could have gotten double Scuttle Crab if he played it correctly.
Well, it looks like he'll have to only settle for 1 Scuttle Crab at the moment, as Euler did go blue Wolves into Scuttle. Now he's looking for a level 2 gank, but we're going to have to see how well this works. Blaze Reach will get the slow down onto Bang Bus Driver. He's still level 1, so he's going to have to flash away just to respect the power of a Dark Binding potentially landing. Not bad.
Yeah, no, if the Morgana Binding did end up landing there, it would have been a lot worse for Anarchy. So just burning the flash on the Alistar is not the worst thing. And ooh, Luigi getting super low in the jungle. And this is the issue with Sejuani. Her clear is just atrocious. And when you go the Hunter's Talisman, you're looking to clear camps with multiple things to hit, especially with your ability. So the path that she took basically made it so that if you don't take the machete, you're asking to basically have to back at level 2 and barely do your right buff. So it's kind of a bit of a misplay on Super Luigi's side.
Yeah, that does hurt his first recall, because now he's forced to take the Hunter's Potions, which is not usually the ideal item to get, and it's a 250 gold investment, so it will delay that Bomby Cinder purchase that Super Luigi does want to opt in for, or even the Skirmisher Saber, just to be able to combat against Euler if he ever finds himself tangling against him in the jungle.
Yeah, no, at this point, Euler just wins the jungle matchup by himself. Now, a mistake that he made, he didn't take the Scuttle Crab top side. He opted to try to gank and try to continue to clear his jungle instead of saying, okay, well, the Scuttle Crab still isn't taken. I have vision on it. So it's a misplay. You give up a lot of tempo and a lot of EXP that you could have been ahead. But we just see Duck Solo just completely demolish Orianna. Like, wow.
That Conqueror Keystone definitely does a lot of work once you get it activated. The true damage can hurt, and it will just tear through those shields, even if it has the bonus armor, as it doesn't even matter at all.
And if you start to look at the CSD mid lane, it's starting to mount up. We're seeing a 14 CS difference. And at the end of the day, Orianna just wants to farm. But if you're down 2 waves in this matchup, you're not going to have a good time come 10, 15 minutes.
And just going back to that point that you talked about, how Zerk's Fire going for the teleport instead of a barrier or even a cleanse, a more defensive summoner spell that could be on demand, usable if things get dicey or hairy. If Duck Solo is able to land a Steel Tempest knockup and going for the all-in, Zerk's Fire has already burned the flash, as we just see on the left-hand side of the screen here. So already, without mana, the teleport will allow her to get back to lane, but she will not have any other defensive summoner spells to save her if the situation gets pretty dicey.
Yeah, with Orianna, your goal is to either survive or be extremely lane dominant. And at this point, she just wants to survive, but opting into the teleport, it doesn't really help you all too much. Because even though you have a little tiny bit of an item advantage, it doesn't do much of anything. And
wait a second. Euler gets actually knocked up by the Pulverize combo, and what looked like a miscommunication from Aerocross. They thought they had the pick off onto Bang Bus Driver, but it actually turns around, and Duck Solo just able to answer with the last breath in the nick of time.
Yeah, no, Morgana was a little bit too far out of position, tried to save Euler as much as humanly possible, but steps way too far forward, and the Yasuo was just able to land the Ignite, so was the Alistar, and that's just going to be her life for nothing, in a sense.
Pretty unfortunate for Aerocross. First, having the long DC to start off the game, and now giving up first blood to the side of Anarchy. We're going to have to see how well the mental is able to be retained by the support here for Illumination, as we now see Duck Solo with that first blood kill against a summonerless Orianna, already 20 CS above. This mid lane is already starting to snowball in his favor.
Yeah, this is horrible for Azure Fire. He wants to be able to lane, and Duck Solo is not giving him the opportunity to do it. And here's the thing, Duck Solo still has yet to back. So imagine once he comes back with Berserker Greaves and most of his PD done. This is not going to be a fun time for Azure Fire. Yasuo right now, he's sitting on 2,600 gold. So Azure Fire, your laning phase is kind of over.
It's a big yikes moment there. And we already have Bang Bus Driver ready to get the knock-up party going for his mid laner in case Azure Fire steps a little too far forward. He's going to roam around, but he does have Euler in the wings on the top side of the map. Good Shockwave is going to disengage the fight, but the Steel Tempest will land. Headbutt Pulverize should be able to come in. It's going to disengage. Stand United is coming in for Azure Fire. It's going to keep him taunted up, but Great Jace is going to come in. Slice and dice with the Maelstrom. Going to take down the mid laner. Now another Steel Tempest knockup is going to land Indigo into a bad situation. One more Headbutt Pulverize could do the trick, but he just needs to get in range. There it is. There's the knockup, and there's the damage. Great Jace picking up a second kill. That's going to be another 2 kills going over the side of Anarchy.
You know, even though that looked really, really good for the side of Illumination, it just happens to be Kennen and Yasuo are just stronger than Orianna, Shen in the early game. So even though Yasuo still has yet to back, and Shen has backed as well, you know, there's just nothing Illumination can do. All they had to do was try to farm early game as our Dark Binding goes on to the Alistar. Oof. But as I was saying, Illumination just want to farm and either snowball really hard or get into that mid to late game. Right now, they're 2,000 gold behind against a team that if they snowball, there is no coming back against Anarchy in that sense.
Yeah. Off of that kill, Great Jace did help his mid laner push into that turret. They weren't able to get first brick quite yet, but they have the makings and the prep work to be able to knock it down after. Ooh, we actually have Curtain Call coming in, but I'm not sure if it's actually going to award any kills right here. Just a little bit of pressure, and he was trying to bend the bullet around Super Duck. Nice Dark Binding. This is a great amount of pressure coming out from the bot lane from Illumination, but we're going to have to see. Ooh, nice! I'm Destro, just going in for the flash, punishing the fact that Bang Bus Driver did not have the flash from the engagement in the mid lane. So now, I'm Destro trying to equalize things here for his team.
Yeah, that was very disrespectful from Bang Bus Driver, and the heal did come out a little late, but even with the heal, it just wouldn't have helped. The bouncing grenade would have ended up hitting him, and he would have just died regardless. So, kind of a bit of a waste of a summoner spell, but great job on the side of I'm Destro. But first tower does go down to the Yasuo. Orianna was just not in lane, and her back timers were completely off.
Yeah, and she just hasn't been having a good time in lane. Duck Solo just putting too much pressure down onto Azure Fire for these past 10 minutes of the game, and hasn't really received any help from Euler to try and equalize or balance out the lane. So not really sure if this is just a choice given by Euler to say, you know what, there's nothing really I can do. Even with the Shockwave, Duck Solo is just too slippery on the Yasuo, or it's just a kind of accepted decision saying, you know what, give up the mid lane, don't die, we got mid game. And so we're just going to have to see if Euler can do something. But the Slicing Maelstrom is going to take down Indigo, and the Ignite will be able to be the finisher from Duck Solo as he comes in with a roam to the top side of the map. And one way of answering that Shen Stand United is just to take him down before he gets to use it.
Yeah, you can't use Stand United on yourself, but you can use it on the rest of the map. Something to make note of from what you said is with Euler, he hasn't been ganking. And the thing with Kayn, it was a buff this season. I don't know when the buff came out. As we see Glacial Prison.
Oh man, Black Shield's a little late, but it's now going to come out. It's going to keep the jungler Super Luigi locked down. Soul Shackles will also be able to provide some disengage opportunity. Indigo is now going to get the taunt in, and Curtain Call is right there, but it's a little too close. Too dangerous. He's going to have to cancel that. Headbutt Pulverize will come out. The Ignite. One more Mystic Shot, and the last tick will be able to burn down I'm Destro, but they will be able to get the redemption kill back onto Bang Bus, and now Super Duck 007 will pop a stopwatch, but to what effect? You're already dead, my friend.
Oh my god, you are just done where you stand. And this is the power of double teleport. The Orianna did give up a lot of lane pressure by taking teleport, but they do come bot, they do pick up 2 kills, and overall this is an attempt to stabilize the game in a sense.
At least they're doing something instead of just allowing Anarchy to continuously walk all over them. I definitely do appreciate when teams have answers to fight back, and there might be another answer right here, but Aerocross giving his position away, but not yet to the... Actually, Indigo is just going to walk forward here, but the rest of Anarchy is coming in. Shockwave is going to catch one. Slicing Maelstrom doesn't really hit anyone except the Zerfire, and he's just going to be in a bad situation. He's popped Stopwatch way too far ahead of the team, and just like that, they were preparing for a counter engage, but the rest of Anarchy was able to collapse in time, took down 4, and they didn't lose any.
That was just a complete overstay by the side of Illumination. And great job on Anarchy realizing that, hey, we just backed, and we have a 4-0-4 Yasuo. So we're just going to take the fight. As we see Euler, he got Rift Herald while they did that. They're just going to break open mid tower. Huh.
Well, at least they got something out of it. Rift Herald, aka the young Shelster. You will not die in vain. Thank you for your contributions to good old Illumination, but I mean, I don't even think Euler was in that fight. Both the first one that did go in the side of Illumination and the second one where Anarchy was able to turn around. I mean, he was on the opposite side of the map. Has he even interacted with his team at all?
I don't think so. And the issue is, so I was talking about it before the team fight. Kane got buffed to where he gets more of his form before 10 minutes, but after 10 minutes, it becomes slower. So unless he's more than 3/4 of the way there, it's going to take him at least another 10 minutes to actually get a form. So this is terrible as we see Yasuo going in.
Oh man, Duck Solo with the 1v2 and just doesn't even care about the Shockwave. Is able to annihilate Aerocross without a Zurik's Fire, being able to do anything to protect his support. And Duck Solo, he just walks out for free.
My god. And this is what we were talking about earlier. A fed Yasuo is basically what Anarchy was looking for. He's roamed all over the map, and all the kills from bot lane has basically... it's been given to the Yasuo. And that's just going to end the game if there's no way for Illumination to just stop him. He just 1v2'd and barely was taken to half HP, even after a Shockwave and a Soul Shackle.
I mean, Sordo, this guy is practically 3,000 gold ahead of his lane opponent at this point, which makes up 2/3 of the... Oh, wait a minute. Slicing Maelstrom just catches the Zurik's Fire. The Glacial Prison does miss, but it doesn't matter. We got Duck Solo coming in. He's going to be able to pick up one. The Ignite will force Euler to lash away, but it's to no avail. They're just too damn fed at this point. And Aerocross... Oh, this turn off the camera, guys. This is going to be pretty. We got Cow and...
Oh my
action.
god!
Oh man, leave her alone.
I like the BM from Bang Bus Driver. Just takes out the cowbell. We need more cowbell, boys. Just starts hitting it, acting like it's nothing. And at this point, if I'm Illumination, I'm not really thinking about this game anymore. You're down 8,000 gold. Yes, the way to get back into this game is to farm, but in reality, it's 3-14. You're down 3 towers. I'm more thinking about next game and why this game went so terribly. And I think one of the main things to look at is Euler. He hasn't ganked. He's still in his base form at 17 minutes. So the Kayn is basically worthless at this point in time. And it was supposed to be a main part of the composition for Illumination. So if they're going to opt to pick the Kayn again for next game...
Don't do it.
Just don't.
Just don't. Or just pick a jungler that actually enforces you or puts you in the mindset of being more proactive early. I mean, because one of the things about Sejuani jungle is that even though she can get some successful ganks off in the early game, she's pretty fragile. And we saw how Super Luigi almost died to his own camps twice twice before level 6. If Euler just had the balls to be able to walk in and invade the enemy jungle and find, it would have been a couple of easy kills right there. We see Duck Solo going in for another 1v2, 1v3 situation.
God.
He's going to force Destro to flash over the wall, but he's going to flash over. He does get shut down, but he will take down Jin. And now Great Jace is in a 1v2 situation of his own, and Euler picks up his first kill of the game, and it's also a shutdown. Actually, we have 2 shutdowns onto the 2 prominent damage dealers right here for Anarchy. So, I mean, I don't want to say anything right yet, as it is still a huge gold lead for the side of Anarchy. But this could be the prep work for a comeback if Anarchy continue to play this over-aggressively.
I think for the side of Illumination, oh, that flash.
Oh, man, I might have to take that back. Super Luigi will go down as he took a little too many turret shots, and that's going to be another shutdown. 2 shutdowns, or 3 shutdowns now have occurred within the past 2 minutes for the side of Anarchy. Super Duck is going to throw out the True Shot Barrage. Not sure where it's really aiming to. I guess he was trying to find a Zurik's Fire. He did hit him at the base, but not going to kill him quite yet.
The issue that Anarchy is having, they're getting a bit too cocky. For them, if they just 5v5, they will win every single team fight. Even though, yes, the Kane did get 2 kills, and this is the first time he's participated in kills in the entire game, you guys still have a stronger team fight for the side of Anarchy. So as long as they opt into a team fight, they'll be all right. And something else to take note of, Illumination, Indigo, is going Trinity Force.
Huh.
Why? I'm confused.
You know, probably Indigo just thought, you know what, my jungler is not doing any damage, and he's building damage, but he's not actually participating in fights. So I'm just going to go ahead and build a Trinity Force, which I don't really agree with the decision making, but I can understand the tilted logic as it would most likely come out. And this is just a free Baron for the side of Anarchy, as the rest of Illumination was too busy with the bot side on the map trying to, I don't even know, are they contesting a Scuttle Crab? They're all grouped together, trying to look for a pick onto Great Jace, but he's just keeping his distance right here. Could get the assassination on Destro if he walks too far away from his team, but not going to be quite yet. And they're just, I mean, they're just giving things away, Sordo.
I mean, they can't really team fight. At this point in time, what Illumination needs to be doing, as we just see Destro just, woo! That's when you love to play AD carry. You just sit there and you're just like, I'm really glad I chose to main this role. But for Illumination, what they needed to do was start pushing out waves instead of giving away all these free objectives. That, I mean, you're gonna give them up anyways, because there's no way in hell that you can compete for the dragon. Right. But if you push waves, you avoid losing more towers. Now, if Illumination, or not if Illumination, if Anarchy was smart, they'd send someone mid lane, which is exactly what the Yasuo is going to do. You keep the cannon in bot lane, let him apply pressure, and just send people mid. You have a huge mid wave, and you're just going to freely take the tower and force someone to come contest you at this inhib.
Headbutt Pulverize is going to lock down Arrow Cross, but the Black Shield will be able to stop the Glacial Prison engagement opportunity there from Super Luigi. Is going to try to front line. He actually gets haunted on his tower, but the heal coming in from his bot laner, Super Duck, will keep him topped off just enough to be able to survive. Now, Euler, not sure if you really want this. You haven't really had a chance to transform yet. Has casted Umbral Chestboss onto Great Jace, getting a little bit of more damage, and now Great Jace has been able to combat back. Meanwhile, Duck Solo goes in onto our Zurik's Fire. Headbutt Pulverize will be able to follow up, and the Orianna is going to fall. And Duck Solo is just comfortable hitting the inhib while the rest of his team looks to take down the rest of Illumination. As Super Duck actually gets shut down by the Jhin, trying to go in, and now Curtain Call actually is going to come out, but with great wind wall, actually does find Bang Bus Driver, turn him into Wendy's ground beef for tomorrow's breakfast burgers, as we're going to see if Euler, now he is Ross form, so can he turn the tides of the battle 22 minutes late on this Kane?
I don't know how this one's gonna go. The Yasuo is just a life stealing at this point. And the thing is, he's sitting on 2,300 gold. He has his bloodthirster. And if he wants to go into a Steric's Gauge, that'll just make him completely and utterly unkillable. Or maybe even a QSS to, you know, counteract the taunt that comes out from Shen. So right now, this game is completely in the Yasuo's hands as he builds the John's Fist. So that can build into a Frozen Mallet or a Steric's Gauge. So this Yasuo is just going to basically have a field day. There is nothing on the side of Illumination that they can do. They threw everything at him. He gets out of the fight, life steals back to full HP. So if I'm Illumination, this is not a fun game to be in. I'm not going to lie to you here.
Yeah, it's not a fun time for Inigo right here, as he's going to try to taunt away and buy as much time as he can, but he's not really going to get out of this situation, unfortunately. Great Jace picking up his 6th kill of the game. Now he just needs to die 5 more times, and he'll have that really good 666 KDA.
Just run it down into the fountain, you know. The usual, the casual running it. But I don't know. There's so many things that went wrong for Illumination. One was the jungler. He just decided not to gank. And even though his scoreline looks good, 2 KDA, he just didn't do anything influential within the game. And you're playing Kayn, who's supposed to be able to abuse the Sejuani, but the Sedge had more impact, as we just see everyone just...
Arrow Cross bites the dust as well as the Zerg's Fire, and now Euler finally gets into the thick of the fight, but he's not really doing that much. He's stealing a lot of health, but he doesn't do any freaking damage at all. He's practically a KDA player at this point. Was AFK for pretty much 20 first minutes of the game, and now we see Anarchy taking that first win quite easily.
And that's game 1 in this best of 3 over to Anarchy, who is supposed to be, you know, the underdog. They're supposed to be the ones that it's like, oh, if they win a game, oh, God bless them. They just manhandled Illumination. They basically said, sit down, I'm going to teach you how to play League of Legends, because obviously you have no idea how to play. My question with Illumination stems to their jungler and top. The jungler, why wasn't there more pressure applied? And then for the top laner, why the hell are you building Trinity Force on Shen? Like, I'm genuinely upset that I'm seeing Trinity Force on Shen. In the playoffs, it's not like this game doesn't matter. This game matters. And now it's up to Illumination to pull out the reverse sweep, which, if they play like they did this game, there's no way in hell they win another game in this league.
That was honestly quite disappointing to see. And it's understandable when it's not to say that I have never heard of Trinity Force on Shen, but the Shens that build it are usually the ones that are about 10-0 and 3 in the first, like, 7-8 minutes. For some reason, they just got huge triple, and at that point, you know, it doesn't really matter what the Shen builds. So building a Trinity Force doesn't matter. But he was like, he had 6 deaths. He built the Tiamat, which is understandable to some degree to give you a little bit of wave clear, be able to push back against the pressure that Great Chase was doing with the Kennen. But then optimizing into Phage, and then the rest of Trinity Force, that's a Monka S right there. You should have been going into your Spirit Visage. I mean, just imagine if he had actually just rushed the Spectre's Cowl and was able to actually sustain against all of the harass from Summon Airy Kennen. Actually could have been able to turn around or neutralize that lane a little bit.
You know, maybe it was just a tilt build. Maybe it was just, I couldn't even tell you. But if Illumination do want to win, they need to change up how Euler plays and what champion he plays. Because, like, he just wanted to farm. He almost out-farmed the mid laner. He out-farmed the top laner. Like, if you want him to farm, let him play a farming champion. Kayn is not a farming champion. You need to be constantly clearing your camps and then ganking over and over and over again. Something that Euler just did not do. Hence the reason why Illumination just fell so far behind and made the game unwinnable for themselves. So if I'm Illumination, I think I need to take a step back and look at what went wrong this game, which is top and jungle, and reevaluate which champions you're going to put them on and how you're going to distribute the jungle pressure. Because right now, there's zero jungle pressure, and every single lane except for bot got smashed.
Yeah. Can we just point out that Kane did less damage than his support Morgana and their Alistar? It
Yeah,
almost got it.
that's disgusting. That should never happen. And that's something that needs to be noted for Illumination to make sure this does not happen again.
Yeah, and they don't really have that much time to be able to sit back and think on it. They're not going to be able to VOD review what this monstrosity of a game just happened. They need to make adjustments now. And we're going to find out in just a few minutes what changes Illumination are going to be making as we're going to throw it to intermission. Take a quick break, and we'll be back to see if Illumination can start a turnaround, go for game 3, or if this will just be a clean 2-0 sweep coming in from Anarchy. Don't tune away, everyone. Good evening and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're now getting into game two of the series between Anarchy and Illumination Spectrum. And Sordo, we saw in the first game how Anarchy just completely dismantled Illumination off of the back of Duck Solo.
Yeah, Duck Solo said, "All right, everyone, I got a sack right here. Just hop in, hop in. I'm gonna put you on my back. It's all good. Oh, what you wanna give a kill? No. Just get in the bag. It's fine. I'll put you on my back. I'll carry you all the way to victory." Doesn't even care. Goes in 1v2, 1v3, 1v4, gets a kill. Sometimes dies. Sometimes gets out. Either way, he just hard carried the game. So for the side of Illumination, if they don't ban Yasuo, you're actually trolling. I can't say any other way. You're actually trolling if you don't ban this Yasuo.
Yeah. And we're just going to have to see if Illumination Spectrum actually respect the threat of the Yasuo. And they did have to give over their first ban as they still are using a sub. And it looks like the Yasuo ban does come in for Illumination Spectrum. So we were talking about how they needed to come together and make some quick adjustments and prepare for this next game correctly. So far, they're already doing something right.
Yeah, I do like the Yasuo ban. The Yasuo ban just had to be there. If not, they were just going to get smashed again by it. So my biggest question is, has Indigo, you know, gotten over that mental boom of that game? Like, has his mental stability came back? He's clear-minded, clear-focused, and is ready to win his lane. That, if you look at the stats from last game, it was a yikes. It was pretty bad. Some of the lowest stats that he's had for the season came out in that game. So maybe they give him an advantageous matchup, or maybe, they put him onto a pure tank. It's really up to Illumination to decide, and especially for Indigo to decide if he can handle being on a carry or if he has to go onto another tank.
Absolutely. And one thing that we do need to point out real quick is that the first game for the side of Anarchy, it was Super Luigi subbing in for the starting jungler Viper Fang. And he played that Sejuani, and we saw how difficult of a time he was having just trying to clear the camps. But because the rest of his team was playing so well, he didn't have to worry about Euler coming in and messing things up, as he also didn't really interact with any of the champions that game. He was playing a PvE farming game, first game, but now it's Viper Fang back in the starting roster for the side of Anarchy, and they have locked in that Graves for him. So a very aggressive jungler, a jungler that can choose to either power farm, gank, or just invade and mess up the other jungler.
Yeah, no. And he has a really strong matchup right now against the Sejuani, which I don't really understand. Like, I don't understand why Illumination would pick the Sejuani here against a Graves who does completely smack up a Sejuani. I would have much rather seen the Pantheon. Pantheon has been such a huge counter to Graves. Even I've played it as a jungle main. I've played it, and I have made Graves' lives a living hell. But as a Sejuani, your goal is just to avoid Graves at all costs. If not, you're just going to get smacked up and you're going to lose the game. You're going to just hard int. But I do like the engage for Illumination Spectrum. The Sejuani, the Orianna. It's the same thing that they did last game. Or it was Illumination who had the Orianna Sejuani. It can work as long as the Orianna does have a chance to scale and does have a chance to, play League of Legends. Because if not, it's just going to be a repeat of the same thing all over again.
Absolutely. And now we're starting to see a couple of new picks coming in for the side of Anarchy. The Echo should be looking to be Duck Solo's second mid laner that he wants to tangle, as he already saw the Orianna come in for Zerfire, was not at all phased by his presence in the mid lane as he completely dominated it on the Yasuo. And now he's looking to do pressure of similar proportions with the Echo pick. The Bang Bus driver also going back to his Alistar pick as he was able to assist and create plays along with his fed carries so beautifully. And we do have the Braum lock in as well, being different as it's not the Morgana from the last game.
Yeah, I do like the Echo pick. Echo into Orianna is an advantageous matchup for the Echo, but Orianna can poke out the Echo early. Her auto attacks do have, more punch than most other champions. So if the Orianna can poke out the Echo early, which I expect the Echo to go a corrupting potion start, the Orianna might be able to win lane. But I do expect the Echo to have the advantage in this matchup, and especially since it's Duck Solo's Echo, I do expect him to have lane dominance and be able to just take over the mid lane.
We can definitely see that potential coming in from Duck Solo. He did it once with Yasuo, and if his prowess can extend to this Echo pick, we can see it once again. The Misfortune has been locked in, however, for I'm Destro, as his Jhin pick was banned, even though they did lose that game quite horribly. Anarchy recognized that I'm Destro was one of the few, if not the only shining light that seemed to put them still in the game just momentarily before Duck Solo and Great Jace were able to just take it off the reins, off the map, and just snowball it so quickly. And then the Ezreal, and looks like a Poppy is going to be the pick this time around for Great Jace, as this time there are no other tanks other than Bang Bus Driver. Last time they did have the tank in the jungle. So this time Great Jace is saying, all right, Viper Fang, you do the damage, I'll do the CC.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, right, for the side of Illumination, one thing to take note of is Misfortune Braum. That lane is iffy because Misfortune is more focused on her abilities than she is on her auto attacks. It's more, you get the double up onto a minion, hits a champion, does 300 damage. The Ezreal's just sitting there like, what the hell am I supposed to do in this lane? This is some bull. But, like, Misfortune is going to sit there with bullet time, but there's so many things on the side of Anarchy that can just disrupt the Misfortune. The Echo diving into the backline, the Poppy ult, the Alistar headbutt pulverize, or even just the headbutt. So the Misfortune pick is a little bit questionable, but if I'm Destro gets ahead, there is nothing that that Anarchy can do. That she will one-shot the Echo, one-shot the Graves, one-shot the Ezreal, and Poppy will just sit there like, oh, I do damage. I have base damage. Don't mess with me. I have the power of God and anime on my side. Like, she'll just smack you and sit there like, yeah, I did it. So if the bot lane of Illumination gets ahead, then the game can just snowball out of control. Misfortune is just one of those champions that it's kind of cheesy. That we used to see her support, and it's like, okay, she'll do damage no matter what role you put her in. But when you have her at 80 carry, a lot of the team's damage relies on you, especially with this team comp. Pantheon falls off, Sejuani doesn't do damage, Orianna's magic damage. You're the only real source of consistent AD damage. So if Misfortune does get behind, it's going to be a yikes for the side of Illumination. So we have to see how Misfortune plays in the spot lane, especially the fact that she has Dark Harvest. So she's looking to hit that, 25, 30-minute mark when she already has 150 stacks onto the Dark Harvest and can just start one-shotting people, pressing ult, doing, 2,000 damage, and you see those disgusting Misfortune charts. That's where she wants to be at.
I'm Destro. All eyes are on you, my friend, to try and turn this game around. And one thing that is quite interesting for the side of Team Illumination is that the last pick is actually a little spectator bug. It is not the Aatrox lock in, it is the Pantheon locked in. And that was his answer into the Poppy. But
Um,
that's
that's
maybe
questionable.
it is.
It's
And
very questionable.
yeah.
There's two things wrong with the Pantheon. So he took teleport, which you have your ult to start roaming around the map. And to be honest, the Poppy lane is not advantageous for you. And then the second bit of it, the second bit of the Poppy Pantheon matchup is that Poppy blocks his W with her W. So it's kind of a trade-off where it's like, well, I'm going to poke you in lane, but I can't really kill you because I don't have Ignite and I can't stun you. And then the only real advantage that he can ever get is if Sejuani comes in. But Poppy's W blocks Sejuani's engage unless Sejuani has ult. So this is just... it's questionable for the side of Illumination, that Pantheon.
Absolutely. And the other questionable thing is that normally Pantheons do take the summon Airy for more consistent harass with the spear shots, as you don't really want to engage. And actually, we do see a huge invade coming in from the side of Illumination. All 5 members committed to the bot side of the map. They do get a ward onto the bottom tri-bush near the riverside. Get a little bit of poke damage onto Super Duck 007, but passive health regen is going to be able to put him back to full before everyone gets into lane. So no casualties there.
Now, something to make note of for the side of Anarchy, they decided not to ward earlier when they saw 5 people in the bot side. The Poppy and the Echo could have gotten wards onto the red buff, but now we're going to just see the harass of Poppy. Oh, jeez. Her passive into the Q that has such a high AD scaling. It's just... whew, not going to be a fun time for this Pantheon.
Yeah. I believe, sort of, I think we casted a game together when we saw Bliss on Cho'Gath absolutely take over a game as a tank. He got super fed, and in Amade's question, you know, it's like, guys, like, why are you trying to play these carry champions when you can just play tanks, play smartly, get ahead, and then you can still do a lot of damage? And Great Jace already making a good case for that, as he is competing against a Pantheon with Corrupting Potion and Electrocute. So far, it already seems to get the out trades going on.
Yeah, he forced the Pantheon already to use a Corruption stack. So, I don't know. This Pantheon needs to start throwing his Q out more, because as it stands, the Poppy is really not taking any damage. And the goal of Pantheon is to just continuously throw Qs and make it so that the lane opponent cannot be in lane. If you can't do that, then the champion kind of becomes useless, and you're just there for your ult late game to disengage the team fight or to just disrupt the backline. So for Pantheon, especially, he's already down almost 10 CS, 9 CS right now. He needs to start getting his harass in and make the lane worthwhile, or else Poppy is just going to outscale you after that first back.
Uh-oh, Viper Fang. There was a ward that was placed by Great Jace earlier onto the red buff for the side of Illumination, and because Euler had opted into a full side bot clear, Viper Fang was able to get both of his buffs and move aggressively over to the top side of the map, and now they're going to try to force a little skirmish into jungle, getting a lot of damage onto both Euler and Azuric's Fire. Going to force Euler to flash on the Sejuani. Now, we were talking about, in the first game, we needed Euler to be a little bit more interactive. Well, he's interactive this time, but he's getting his butt kicked.
Yeah, and he loses his red buff as well. And that's the disadvantage of the pathing that he did. He decided to full clear and get Scuttle, so he gets 4 camps. Cool. But you lose your entire top side. He's going to lose Krugs, which is questionable by Viper. He should have taken the Raptor camp first, definitely, and then moved up to the Krugs camp. But now he's in a good position to end up ganking the Pantheon. And that Sejuani now just feels completely and utterly useless in comparison to the Graves.
And Indigo should be careful. As you mentioned, and this is a great advantageous pathing spot for Viper Fang. And Indigo did see that he did take the red buff on the top side of the map, so he's not respecting this. He's going to get wall slammed. He's going to jump, however, to Viper Fang. He's going to be able to make his way out of that gank. Not too much damage coming down, but still needs to respect that pressure that Viper Fang could have put there.
That gank ended up being more of a miss as we see the engage bot lane. Interesting.
Plus Driver getting locked down here. Doesn't have the stun stack quite yet. Arrow Cross and I'm Destro. They were doing pretty well in the first game, just in the laning phase, but then once the roams came in from Duck Solo and Great Jace, it just turned around their lead and allowed them to not really get that far ahead. This time, they're trying to push in a lead this time around.
Yeah, something to notice is that the Graves is just getting more pressure everywhere. And, oh gosh, we see another engage. As I'm saying, who gets more pressure?
Ooh, Euler. We finally see him being interactive this time around. The Ignite is not going to take down Bang Bus Driver as the heal also comes in. And actually, they turn it around. First Blood goes over to Super Duck 007, clipping I'm Destro under the turret.
That is heartbreaking, to say the least. Like, they had such an advantage in that bot lane. The Sejuani came in at the perfect time, forced the Alistar to flash, got the Ezreal heal, and then Misfortune ends up taking 2 tower shots and dying to the Ezreal. So, kind of negates everything that just happened that they would have gotten praise for, and now it just turns into utter heartbreak and misplays.
Yeah. Basically, the intent was correct, but the execution was just lacking a little bit. But Viper Fang is going to get locked up in the jungle, and he has the flash, but he's getting stun locked too long, and he's not going to be able to get it out. Actually, he died!
God!
Arrow Cross was not able to clutch down the kill. Azure Fire does make the roam over, and he's going to be able to do what his teammates could not do, but they did lose Euler and Arrow Cross in the jungle as the rest of the team from Anarchy was able to make such a successful collapse.
That is what happens when you invade and you don't have pressure into your lanes. Now, what ended up happening was the Echo started to have pressure and was able to get the roam before the Orianna, thus resulting in Euler and Arrow Cross dying. But I do like the aggressive style from Viper Fang. He acknowledges the fact that the Sejuani is just completely worthless in the early game combat. She is picked for that late game skirmish team fight, and she's designed for picks, but she's getting invaded by a Graves who is one of, if not the strongest early game jungler in this patch. So right now, I'm liking the way that Viper is just completely making the Sejuani hate her life in a sense.
Just going back to how Euler played the first game around on that Kayn. Non-interactive, just completely farming up a storm, trying to get an advantage, and then actually exert it, but he never had time to make that advantage happen. Viper Fang, once again, aggressively invading, and the amount of damage that he's doing this time around. And Bang Bus Driver's actually going for a 2-man pulverized knockup, but the rest of his team isn't quite there yet to follow up. Super Duck does Arcane Shift in, trying to get some damage now. Meanwhile, Indigo actually does force out the Keeper's Verdict from Great Jace, putting some great pressure back onto the top side of the map now that he has a Serrated Dirk completed. But
look at the Graves. He's still trying to take the blue buff.
He just doesn't let up. No, he does not get the Smite Steal, and without the flash, a little over-aggression coming in from Viper Fang. This time did not have the support from his team to actually entail he could get that blue buff safely.
Yeah, without pressure, you cannot invade as a jungler. Even though Graves is really strong early, he's not to the point where he can start to pull plays like that. The Orianna was still missing out of vision. The bot lane just showed bot, but they ended up roaming up the Braum at least, and that's just going to be his death for nothing. It's just not a good time for Viper Fang.
Yeah, just a little unfortunate for the side of Anarchy. As Viper Fang, we do enjoy seeing how much of a playstyle change has come in for the side of Anarchy. As Super Luigi, we talked about before, he was kind of more on the novice side in terms of jungling, picked that safe jungler in Sejuani, but then was not doing so well with the clears. But because Euler was not really looking to invade, he didn't get punished on that. This time, Viper Fang is just spending a lot of his time invading into the jungle of Euler, trying to put him on the back foot. But the communication with his team is not really coming in. And once again, he's going to get locked down by Shockwave and Glacial Prison. Duck Solo coming in a little too late with the parallel convergence. Euler actually flashing in, and we got Indigo flashing in for the stun. It's going to lock him down and get a double kill for Azurix Fire.
This is exactly what I wanted to see from Euler and from Indigo. Indigo making the proactive roam down, knowing that the Graves is just going to want to invade over and over and over and over and over again. He makes the roam down, flash stun onto Graves, and forces, or no, it was a flash onto the Echo, and forces another kill. This Orianna is now 4-0 with double buffs, and it's just going to make the life of this Echo a living hell, even though she's down. What is that, 16 CS? I can math. So, right now, Illumination just made a complete 180, and they want to win this game. They want to force a game 3, right? Or, no, yeah, game 3, right?
I wonder if they have Coach Koma actually secretly in the back room.
Low-key.
They just low-key and just gave him the belt. It's like, all right, that was trash. That was trash. You need to actually interact with the the whole map. And, I mean, the playstyles have completely changed for the side of Euler. I mean, yeah, the early gameplay wasn't as clean as it could have been, but he is being a lot more proactive, trying to gank, trying to set up his lanes for success. And because he now has a lot of crowd control on his side, he's able to turn things around as Indigo taking a lot of damage from Great Jace. So we were talking about how this matchup, even though it should be Pantheon favored, you cannot disrespect the amount of trade damage that Grace Jace can put out on this Poppy.
Yeah, no, and he's forced out of lane as well. So the question is, does he teleport or does he ult back in?
Well, we do have Azurix Fire roaming to the top side of the map. He is going to go for the teleport. Meanwhile, Glacial Prison, a little optimistic on that ultimate right there.
We can say that Euler is not Kobe, right? Because that was an airball. That looked like a Shaquille O'Neal free throw right there.
Oh.
Hey, that was disgusting.
All right,
that's a yikes.
Yeah, that's a big yikes. You know what, Euler? It's okay. Okay, we all make mistakes. And now Euler is still here. He's gonna go in the holy moly! Wait! Oh no! Azurix Fire missed the shockwave. That could have been 2 kills easily, but the damage. Oh no! Turn off the camera. We need to replay. Oh, run that back. Cut the scene. That was not supposed to happen there, Sordo.
Yo, show me the replay. Show me the replay. Give me a trick 2G. Show me the replay. That was that's the director's cut. It's not supposed to be in the final film right there. That was unfortunate. You know, the Orianna tried to make the same play that she did last time, or last game. And it would have worked if the shockwave was a little bit further. And the funny thing is, Bang Bus Driver knocked Euler forward, and the second part of the W hit onto the Ezreal, so he was slowed. It was the perfect setup for Illumination, and one tiny mistake by Azure Fire just throws away the entire play. So, you know, something to take a look at later on.
Yeah, I wonder if they were just feeling the pressure of like, all right, we got the lead now. Let's make sure not to mess this one up. And unfortunately, they did. The execution was just not clean at all. And now Great Jace is actually looking to maybe get a solo kill onto Indigo. He does not have flash room before. Just one more hammer shot could do it, and he flashes in, gets the solo kill onto Indigo. Poppy gonna bring down the hammer.
Cool. Bring out the ban hammer. Make sure he doesn't get to play League of Legends anymore. That's basically what Great Jace is saying. He's like, this will be your last game in ODL. You're done. That was an excellent play by the Poppy just to go in. She knows that she's stronger than the Pantheon. Most players, the mistake that they make versus Pantheon is being too passive, when in reality, they have the advantage. And we do see a pause coming out from Illumination. Oh, unlucky.
Oh, and it seems like that the top lane was lagging apparently during that 1v1. So either unfortunate Riot being being a scumbag to Indigo, or the, what is the term, Johns? Okay, that's a little too BM. This,
well, no, it was either solo queue, I'm lagging, or it's actually, you know, genuine lag that
unlucky.
is plaguing Indigo. Yeah. But, you know, quick disconnect, quick reconnect. We should be back into the game momentarily, but it gives us more time to talk about what is going on. Something to take note of is the Graves. He is 0-3 right now. So if I'm Viper, I take a page out of Euler's book and just farm. Graves outscales almost every jungler in the meta at the moment. The Sejuani, yes, will be more useful in the team fights, but Viper Fang will do more damage later into the game when he gets the Storm Razor, when he gets the Ghost Blade, the Dust Blade, the PD. You will just blow up everyone. That Orianna, who's 4-0, it doesn't matter, but oh, that flash!
Oh, but not that shockwave. That, it went from pretty nice play to pretty, oh, he could have just held on to that one right there. But Azure Fire does get out of harm's way. You do see Great Jace roaming to the mid lane. Looks like they want to try and take down this mid lane. And as I say that, Great Jace says, you know what? I'm just going to go back top, try to put some... He can't make up his mind. I guess the pathing is just a little awkward for him. He does not know which way he wants to approach it, but...
Yeah. It's just... Woo! Where do I go and play League of Legends, right? Like, do I go top lane? Do I go mid lane? Do I play the video game? I don't know. I'll make it up in
there's some farm top lane. Pretty much get some gold at this point. Is up 20 CS, by the way, against this Pantheon. Does lock him down with the hammer shotgun. Oh no, Indigo does have flash, but he's already getting chunked quite low. And when Viper Fang is up in your face like that, I don't even think the flat... Ooh, oh. I take that back. Oh, Viper Fang! Oh, that's...
Buddy.
You hate to see that.
Viper Fang. You had such a good early game, but it's all crumbling right now. Like, he could have flash Ard. He could have done so many different things. He could have smited! Red Smite! That does damage! It does like 250 damage, and it's true damage! Oh my goodness. That was such a misplay by Viper Fang. It's just... you hate to see those.
Yeah, exactly. 0-3-2 on this Graves, by the way. Did see a lot of aggression coming out, but now the farm is not coming in quite as much as we probably would like to see. As you mentioned, the thing with Graves at this point in the meta right now is not only he's really great early game, but he's pretty much great at all stages of the game, as long as you're keeping your farm up. If you keep your farm up, you can get those items such as the Black Cleaver, the Storm Razor. If you can go for a full lethality build, or maybe even a crit build, you just start becoming a secondary marksman that can put out and pump out a lot of consistent damage as you get later and later into the game. But when you're not keeping up your farm and you're just looking... Oh, actually, speaking of keeping up farm, that's Duck Solo being farmed up by Indigo. Going to be able to lock him down, and now there is a return gank onto the bot side of the map. I'm Destro is going to chancel the bullet time to try and keep his enemies at bay. It does force the flash from both him and Aerocross. Meanwhile, Euler is actually going in for more on the Great Jace. He does not have flash, but what a great time for Steadfast Presence. Blocks the stun from Indigo, and I don't really think you're going to get that much out of it. Does get a little bit more poke and trade damage down, but this does mean it is high time to get that Mountain Drake.
Yeah. They're Well, for the side of Illumination, they are being proactive. The Pantheon, this is the second time he's roamed down, the second time he's gotten a kill out of it. So it's well played by Indigo. He is making up for last game. But Great Jace is just absorbing jungle pressure. He does not care. That was an amazing steadfast presence to block the Pantheon stun. And right now, he's just living up here. He's building armor and is just enjoying life. He gets to farm and he's up 20 CS. And that lead's about to grow even bigger with this wave crashing into his tower.
The first brick has been successfully taken down by Anarchy here. Definitely appreciate the gold coming in, but Duxo has to be careful. Indigo is starting to succeed most of his lane pressure and just looking for those roams. And it's definitely, even though you don't always want to be losing lane as Pantheon, in fact, you really don't want to be losing lane as Pantheon. That is kind of your main goal. But the other great thing about Pantheon is those roams. You look and use that semi-global ultimate in the Grand Skyfall. You try and make picks onto targets such as Duck Solo or even Super Duck. And with the point-and-click stun from the Aegis of Zeonia, definitely a surefire, easy way to get that done.
Yeah, he has yet to use his Grand Skyfall anywhere, and that's something that needs to be taken note of. He has hit a level 11, so the range does increase. But there hasn't really been anywhere for him to go. He did take the teleport, so he should be looking to make plays into the bot lane, into the mid lane with his ultimate. But so far, almost 20 minutes into the game, he has still yet to use Grand Skyfall.
Not to say that he hasn't made plays, as he didn't get that double kill for Azure Fire around, think about that 8-minute mark. But other than that, they haven't really done anything. We were ready to see Azure Fire take over the game now that she's 4-0-1 on this Orianna with Luna's Echo and penetration boots. But was the first one to lose turret against Duck Solo, so the pressure and the lead that you should be seeing from an 4-0 Orianna is just not there. And in fact, Viper Fang, even though he is 0-3, they're just being much more proactive as a team and taking the objectives. Glacier Prison does lock down Viper Fang, and the Shockwave is not going to land. It does get Great Jace up, lock him down. Parallel Convergence Stun will lock down Azure Fire. He does not have Flash, however, he just used it to get the engage, and that's a shutdown kill going over to Duck Solo. He still has Chrono Break if he needs it. There it is. He's going to get the health down, and he forces the Flash out of Euler, and just like that, 2 members are down. 3 members still alive on the side of Anarchy, and the bot lane is still doing their thing, and they're going to be able to take a second-tier turret on that top side of the map.
Even before that fight broke out, the Orianna's 4-0-4, but it doesn't matter. The Echo was still 1,000 gold ahead.
No!
Oh no, Euler.
Euler,
buddy.
So greedy. Why would you even think that was a good idea? You cannot be doing that. And I'm Destro. Oh no. The whole team, Illumination, is just collapsing at the seams. Communications just falling down as Super Duck and Bang Bus Driver picked up another kill for themselves.
The thing is, for the side of Illumination, every single person in the game, even the supports, are down in CS for Illumination. So this entire gold lead, even if you take away the towers, it's all based on CS. So for the side of Illumination, their goal of getting ahead early is completely negated due to the fact that none of them are farming minions. They're trying to farm champions, and they're still not winning in that sense either at this point.
It's pretty much laning phase over at this point. We're now approaching that 22-minute mark, and with both the mid-tier turret taken down and the second-tier turret taken down, the map is an open book. Duck Solo getting a little aggressive there, but he now has the backup of his team. That's a 3-man Shockwave, and it might turn the tides of the battle, and his bullet time is going to rock in and take down Viper Fang. Meanwhile, Bang Bus Driver was looking for the flank, but now realizes that he is in a little over his head, has the flash out. Great Jace does get a great keeper's verdict and keeps Euler back at bay, but now what seemed like an aggressive engage that could have worked out for the side of Anarchy gets turned on his head by that Shockwave.
Yeah, that Shockwave was really well placed, hits 3 people on it, but we see the Echo going back in.
Oh man, the action doesn't stop here. Sordo, Duck Solo lands a 3-man parallel. Convergence locks down 3, and they're going to be able to take down 2. And I'm Destro, I'm Euler, and also Arrow Cross. He's looking for more on this Fire. He's going to get the triple kill for Duck Solo. He does go down to minions, but he's done enough damage and sets up his team for success.
My goodness. Duck Solo is taking his team, putting it on his back and saying, all right, boys, I'm going to take over this game. I'm going to win this. I'm going to make sure that Illumination does not win all 3 leagues in ODL. And I'm taking us to the final. I do not care. Oh my goodness.
OMG. Duck Solo back at it again with the super big kills, the hard carry, indeed.
Man, right now the only issue that's coming out for Anarchy is the Graves. Yes, he is starting to get his item, but he is going in and dying and not really getting his damage off. He hasn't gotten his ult off. He can't auto smite or smite auto. So right now, if Anarchy wants to win, they do need the Graves to step up a tiny bit. Yes, Duck Solo is carrying this game hard, and so is the Poppy and Ezreal. But Graves is a substantial part of Anarchy's damage. And if the Graves continues to fall behind, he's just going to get further and further behind with how this game is continuing. Because his team is just absorbing all the resources.
Oh, and that's another 3-man shockwave into bullet time. That combo worked out for them before, but this time it's not really doing as much as implications that we would like to. The Azure Fire gets shut down by Viper Fang as the collateral damage ricochets across the entire battlefield. And now without the mid laner, that's a substantial amount of wave clear gone. And this should give Anarchy an opportune time to push in this bot lane here.
Yeah, so as I was saying, the Graves is doing amazing. He's the best person on the team of Anarchy. Yeah, I didn't just say that he wasn't doing damage. Don't worry about it. He just completely blew up the Orianna. Are you kidding me? As Echo goes in?
Duck Solo still has Chrono Break, and he now uses it just to get out of safely. I mean, when you have that much disengaged power, you can just go in as you please, and they're just rocking forth the team. Illumination, they're falling all down. They cannot get up. Azure Fire is now back up on the Rift, but I don't know what Azure Fire can do against a full team of 5. The GG well plays are coming out of the chat. At this point, Anarchy is super confident that this game is in their hands. Shockwave only hits 1, so that means that is the ace. And ladies and gentlemen, I do believe Anarchy are going to take it home here with that 2-0 sweep.
Oh my goodness. Anarchy takes the Death Note out, puts it on the table, slams it down, has Duck Solo take the pen, write down the name of Illumination, and says, my friends, you can take your hopes of playoffs, you can take your hopes of the finals, but it is written in the Death Note because your playoff hopes are absolutely deleted. GG for the side of Anarchy. Oh my goodness. That was just such a snowball of a game that we just witnessed. Anarchy, the 6th seed, the underdogs, they're not underdogs anymore. They pulled the Philadelphia Eagles. They said, yeah, we'll take off those masks. We are the Patriots. We're just going to smash you and make sure that you don't get back up. Holy hell.
Oh, man. Just absolute destruction from Duck Solo. And it's not, we're not trying to take away the credit from any of these other members. Super Duck and Bang Bus Driver, they did their job. They stepped up and they were able to get that solo kill onto I'm Destro and punish the fact that I'm Destro did over aggressively dive and take 2 turret shots in that gank early on. And of course, great Jace being able to hold his lane down against an aggressive champion in the likes of Pantheon from Indigo and getting a solo kill on top of that as well. And really the only shining light we saw from Illumination was that double kill setup for Azure Fire and then another couple of kills in the bot lane. And he was 4-0, but then he just sat there 4-0 for a solid 10 minutes, not being able to successfully push in Duck Solo in this mid lane. He loses first turret as well to Duck Solo, and then he just continues to farm, and in fact still falls behind in farm as well. So it just, I normally when we try to look at like and dissect the advantages that these teams had over another, we don't like to simply just put, well, they just played individually better. But honestly, they just kind of did. Outfarmed every single lane and still had a pressure advantage despite giving up 4 kills early on.
Yeah, no. A lot of this game does fall onto the Orianna, onto Azurfire. He was the one who was 4-0. He was the one that was supposed to take over the game. Yes, he does end with the most damage in the game, but that damage didn't really translate to anything. The issue with Azurfire was that he could not apply pressure anywhere. And at the end of the day, it just did not translate into a win. And in all actuality, he still lost his lane. He lost tower, was down CS. Yes, he was 4-0, but yikes, he still didn't do much of anything. So, yes, congrats, you did get 4-0. Yes, you did do a lot of damage, but your shockwaves did miss, and it made your life just a living hell for the side of Illumination. And I think this is the first Illumination squad to get eliminated from playoffs as well. You still have Plat Illumination in their Illumination Empire, and you still have, I'm fairly positive, the Bronze and Silver ones. So, let's see if Illumination can still sweep the other 2 leagues. But for right now, the playoff hopes for Illumination Spectrum are done tonight.
At least within the Gold League.
Yeah.
And unfortunate for them, hopefully they take some of the learning experiences they got from this game, and maybe they can impart it to their sister leagues that are still in the playoffs. For them, they can definitely learn something after witnessing such a catastrophic series against Anarchy here. And we just take a quick look at the damage charts. I mean, Azurfire was pumping out damage with the shockwaves, and as well as I'm Destro, the bullet time shockwave combos were there, but it just came a little too late for them. At that point, the members from the side of Anarchy were just able to bull rush through the front line, not give a damn about the front line of
Of Anarchy.
Yeah, or no,
or
just
of Illumination.
Illumination here, the Braum and the Sejuani, and it just proved that futile, that Duck Solo was just able to basically get these massive parallel convergences onto the back line, stun them up, and just lock them down for Viper Fang and Super Duck and Great Jace to follow up with the damage. And I mean, other than that, sort of, I have really nothing much else to say. Duck Solo, what a monster, dude.
Yeah, no, Duck Solo definitely just the MVP of this series. Goes 10-1 on the Yasuo, then pulls out this game, goes 8-3. So definitely in the following games, if you have to face Anarchy, mid laner should be a priority. So we're going to have to see who faces Anarchy and how they're going to deal with it, because right now they're just looking unstoppable.
You're absolutely right. But we do have another series tonight, ladies and gentlemen, in the Overdrive Gold League for the summer split. It is going to be Team Roar versus Team Bluebirds. And with that, me and Sordo will be signing off. We have another great couple of casters joining the desk. I believe it is going to be Canadian and McRee. Wonderful couple lads there. I'm sure they're going to have a hell of a time with you guys as much as we did as well. First of all, thank you so much for tuning in to EverLife Gaming Network, being a partner with Overdrive League and taking these games and bringing it to you live. Thank you so much for coming in on behalf of the EverLife Gaming Network production crew and myself and Sordo will be signing off. Thank you so much. Do not turn off your browser. We got another great series coming up.